All hope seems to die when he sees your eyes running through the night. Only takes him back, always out of sight, crowding through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming.
Hey guys, and thank you ever so much if you're joining us live today. Obviously, we don't normally do lives on a Saturday, but we have an absolutely special guest joining us tonight, which is the Dutch football expert Michael Statham. As I say, Michael, thank you ever so much for joining us. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Yeah, thanks, Dave, and thanks everyone for watching. Listen, I'm here because I talk about Dutch football a lot on podcasts, on YouTube. We've got a website, Twitter. Football Dania is where I'm kind of based, if you like. Dutch football in the English language. We talk about the league. We talk about the national team in English. So if anyone wants to come and check us out, we're about to do our season preview podcast of the entire Dutch league on Monday. So that's going to be on our YouTube channel. Yeah, come and check it out if you want to. But obviously, once you finish listening to this.
Absolutely. Now, like we got in touch with each other because Wolves have made a signing. I know everyone's been really, really stressed lately because we've not been signing a lot of people, and Wolves have lost Ryan Ait-Nouri on that left-hand side. And then this young man, it came out 48 hours ago. He was going for a medical. It was unveiled by Wolves today that he has become our third permanent. Well, if you count Jurgen Strand-Larsen, who we'll talk about as well because he knows him very well and was involved in having a chat to him. David Moller Wolfe. He looks very happy there. He's officially a Wolves player, signed on a 5-year deal for 10 million. Is that good value for money, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things I want to share about Wolf. I mean, I'm saying Wolf because the Dutch media always pronounced it that way, and I start the Dutch commentary with it. So yeah. I think Wolf, he wouldn't really mind because, of course, he's playing for Wolves. But yeah, I might pronounce it a different way throughout the show. But is a good value for money. It's a two sort of answers to that. I think, yes, it's not bad. You know, if you get a gem here with Wolf, then he's a good player. You've got a new starting left back for a decent fee for a Premier League club. On the other side of that, some of the things I'll talk about are kind of like drawbacks of the player as well as those really good things he brings on the pitch. So I think if I'm going to stick my neck out, I'm going to say, yeah, I think he will succeed. But some things in this show might kind of just give a bit of caution, I think, to this signing because, you know, he's not the finished product.
Well, he's not the finished product. As I say, he was born on the 23rd of April 2002. His position's a left fullback stroke wing back. He's Norwegian. His previous clubs were Bergen North, SK Brann, Assen, and obviously he's at AZ Alkmaar, or was. He's made 190 appearances, 7 goals and 22 assists. What's the background to his journey, first of all, before we start getting into his last couple of years at AZ, obviously playing in the Europa League as well, got knocked out to the eventual winners, I believe, Tottenham Hotspur in the round of 16.
Story behind him then. Well, before he was at AZ Alkmaar, he was playing in Norway. Obviously didn't see him playing much in Norway, but what AZ Alkmaar tend to do, as well as many of the Dutch teams in the Eredivisie, they probably have sold a key player for a good profit, and then they go searching around Europe, usually in Scandinavia, if it's not within the Netherlands, and they'll bring someone new in, such as Wolfe. Like he came in when he must have been 21 to 20 years of age. So he was that age where he was developing in Norway to a good level, looking for a step up. AZ Alkmaar are in that kind of sub-top, they call it in the Netherlands, where it's not the top 3 clubs, not mid-table, but they're challenging for Europe. They've been in Europe 15 years in a row. So it's a great place for players to develop that are coming in. His English is good. The English of the players is good. So it's a nice environment for him to grow. The Eredivisie is a great league for young players. But I think what people maybe forget now, even Dutch people, is how good the Dutch league is. Not saying it's great, by the way. I'm not saying it's a Premier League at all. But it's the sixth best league in Europe. It's the best outside those top 5 leagues. It's got a lot of great talent, a lot of gems. You probably have seen before players have come from the Eredivisie and flopped elsewhere. But I think that it's a growing league in that there are now better defenders coming from that league. Out of all the players that are Dutch nationality in the Premier League, most of them are defenders now. So the Netherlands is getting known for better defensive players. This guy's developed obviously as a left back coming from Norway. He's had a past couple of years in with RZ and he's a better player for it now. So yeah, I think before I talk about RZ, I think he's had a good sort of upbringing up till now and he's still got potential to grow.
Yeah, so we moved to RZ. They obviously cherry-picked him. He's been there. He's thanked them for being the next step in his career development to get to the Premier League. Mm-hmm. He spoke to Jurgen Strand-Larsen, of course, his Wolves number 9 striker, who's basically been said he's been influenced in bringing in Lopez, and he reckons he's an agent and stuff. But they obviously know each other, so that's going to help him settle in. How have the AZ? How long did it take him to settle into the Dutch league with AZ, and how good was he performing for them over the course of his career? Did he come in straight away? It was very strong. Has it taken him time to adapt as a step up from where he was in Norway?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of questions there. I think if I forget a little bit, just prompt me a little. But we signed for RZ and was thrown straight into starting 11 because he was that's young players grow in the Netherlands. They just give them a chance. You just get thrown in. You get told you're a starting player. Off you go. Are you going to grow? Are you going to get better? So that was the case for his first season. He's been there for 2 years at RZ before he stepped down today. How was he viewed? Actually, I thought his first season was pretty poor. Didn't think he was that good. And I thought it was actually quite a weak link for RZ.
Why is that?
Why is that? I thought defensively he was lacking. I thought at times he lost the ball way too easily. He looked really nervous. He looked like he was trying really hard on the pitch, like he was really trying to prove himself. There was one game in particular where that was the case. I was at the game for AZ Alkmaar against Aston Villa. It was in the Conference League that season. And watching him closely in that game, he just looked out of his depth. Yeah. I didn't think it was for him at all being at RZ. And I thought that level, obviously playing against Villa, Premier League team, he didn't look right. But this season, one of the main players within the sides, Dutch media will call him one of their sterkhouders. That's like one of the strong players within the side now that's holding it up. I think he's just gone through a good development of coming from Norway, playing with RZ, a really good team, and getting better. It's just the way it is with Dutch clubs. You get a player in knowing that they're not going to be as good as a player that there was there before them, because the player before him was Milos Kerkez, right, who was RZ's obviously left back who went to Bournemouth, gone to Liverpool. So have you got someone as good as that, Could do. Kerkez to me was always outstanding in attack going forwards. I think that's why Liverpool have now gone for him. But Moller Wolfe, like I said, had real struggles in his first season. Didn't look like he fit the bill at all at RZ, but has just changed that by just working hard, getting better, and proving people wrong.
Well, that's good, because coming over to Wolves, obviously we lost Ryan Ait-Nouri, who for a defender had, I think the most assists in the league last year. Yeah. Playing with Jurgen Strand-Larsen, I think they've played together 6 times for the national side in various forms, and they're unbeaten whilst when they've played together. So they know each other very well. Jurgen thrives on crosses into the box and making those runs. It's said on the Wolves scout report, as a player, Wolfe, Wolf, however you're saying it, the requirements of what Wolves manager Vitor Pereira wants for his squad. Is saying that there's a player with a lot of physicality, although not towering compared to his national teammate Jurgen Strand-Larsen. He has a good height for a wing back and is a willing runner who can get up and down the pitch well, both in and out of possession. He's also confident on the balls in terms of carrying it out from the back, as well as his contribution in the final third, which is backed up by his assists and crossing statistics. He has been described as quietly competitive a player enjoys to get stuck into challenges and celebrating a tackle. Is that how you see him?
Oh, that's a pretty good description, to be fair. I don't need to be hearing it, though. Yeah, I think that's nailed him there, spot on. So attacking-wise, I did just double-check with you before I came on the podcast that Wolves do play with a back five, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that probably would work for him, but he's not actually played in that system himself at RZ. So they're very 4-3-3, and he's a flying fullback within that system. But that's a very Dutch way of playing, right? And it's very attacking. So a more conservative lineup, left wing back for Wolves, I think could work as like a translation of that. If you put him in a back four, I think in the Premier League, I think he would struggle with that a little more. So tactically, he's got to adjust to that because it's not what he's used to. But I do think he could thrive when he's settled within that. All those things you were describing there, attacking, he loves to carry the ball. Like you're describing, he likes to hug the left touchline. He is really good, like Milos Kerkez, if anyone's seen him, at being really wide and playing on the overlap of that winger or someone that's going to maybe an inverted 10 that can just bring him into play a through ball to him. And he will deliver crosses, dangerous balls from the left side, being build-up play as well. He's out wide a lot, playing balls inside. And despite what I said to begin with, is now much better at holding onto the ball, not losing it as easily. He is competitive. He does love flying his challenges. He loves all that side of it. He's very passionate. You can see it in his face when he plays of how much he wants to win, get tackles in, do well for the team. And the assist record's got a good one as well, isn't it, from fullback? That he was getting assists. He's replacing Aït-Nouri, who's known for his assists. I think Moller Wolfe is in that similar mould where he will get forwards as much as possible to provide that attacking outlet down the left side.
Well, that's interesting to state. One of the things that was accused sometimes of Ryan Aït-Nouri, although he did get a lot of assists, sometimes he got caught out of position, bombing forward. And one of the things that he's also said, because I'm just hearing some of the stuff that he said, this is David himself. He says, I'm an extremely hard-working player that can run up and down the left side for 90 minutes straight. I give a lot of energy to the team, and I always do my best to help the team. I'm very confident. I think I have the quality to play in the Premier League and deliver and perform. Also here, I will play as a wing-back. So that means I can have more freedom to go on offensive runs. So I can't wait. So he's basically, from what I'm saying there, he's basically saying he's got a really good engine on him, which if you're playing wing back, you absolutely, especially in the Premier League, have to be. It's probably one of the hardest positions to play because you've got to know when to go, when to defend, and you've got to be able to keep doing that throughout the game. Do you think that's why Wolves have brought him in? Because we do, under Vitor Pereira, he basically, with the wing-backs, he likes to push them out almost onto the halfway line, very wide onto the touchline. You got the back three, and then when one goes, the left-sided, right, if he's on the left-hand side and he's bombing up, the left-sided centre defender can actually come in behind him, and he can get back. What's his pace like? Is he strong? Has he got an engine?
I think that is a major part of his game too. The stamina that he has. I wouldn't, if you said strong as in physicality strong, that's not necessarily his game, but certainly his strength will be within his pace and his stamina and just willingness, effort, always get up and down. Big part of his game. That's why I think wing back suits him better than fullback in that respect. It's just his attacking game is very good, and he will always come back and try and cover himself. He'll go and attack and be part of that main kind of attacking front line if he needs to be on that left side where he can deliver balls in.
Fantastic. Well, that's good to hear because that's what we've sort of been looking for on Vitor Pereira. Wolves have apparently been tracking him since 2019 and having regular updates on him, apparently.
It's interesting to say that. Can I just ask you a question, David? Maybe the Wolves fans will be interested to hear. Why have you waited till now to make this signing? Why didn't you do this about a month ago? Because he knew that he was leaving a while ago, Moller Wolfe. Like, this was in his ambitions to do. And he didn't play any of the stuff with RZ in pre-season or the Europa Conference League qualifiers. So I'm wondering why Wolves have done this now.
Do you know what? That's an incredibly good question. And we ask ourselves, this question.
Right. It's one of those ones.
Everyone pretty much knew that Ryan Aït-Nouri was going to go.
Yeah.
And obviously the Wolves needed that left side. We've got some left-sided players, of course. We've got like Hugo Bueno that's come back from Feyenoord, who you probably will know as
He's
well.
a good player as well.
So you might be able to give it a little bit of a take on
definitely
on Hugo Bueno. So Hugo Bueno was out on loan at Feyenoord playing in European football as well. So we've got players, Rodrigo Gomez as well, who's played on that side. But like with Ryan Aït-Nouri is a very special type of player, lots of tricks and skills to create, loves running. And like you say, if he's been playing in a back four, it's a slightly different role where he's got to be a lot more, he knows where he is. He can go forward a little bit, but not probably as much as what he's going to be expected to do here. So that's a very good question. If they've targeted him and tracked him for so long, why is it taken until the first week of August? Why did they go and get him the first week of July? And then he could have been straight into pre-season training rather than coming in. Because Wolves are over in Spain at the moment. They're playing a friendly over there against Girona tomorrow night. He's expected, obviously, to join the Wolves when they come back and start training on Tuesday. We've got a pre-season friendly against Celta Vigo. And then it's a baptism of fire against Manchester City. So obviously,
could it be because Hugo Bueno? How much has he had in like pre-season preparations? Did he play a little bit at the beginning? Maybe they were having an eye on him to see how good he was first.
Not particularly, because Hugo Bueno and Rodrigo Gomez were both involved in the Portuguese under-21s championship. So they've had a lot of extra time off. Than all the other players that have come back. So they came back at the day before the Stoke friendly last weekend. They played a bit part in that. They played against RC Lens, started against RC Lens on Wednesday night, which Wolves lost 3-1 in the end. Although in the first half, when they were on, Hugo was on the pitch, we looked better. So they haven't been back very long either. So yeah, it's a very good question. If they targeted him, why is it taken till now? Because apparently wasn't Napoli interested in him as well?
I've got to be honest, I didn't see that one. I was actually quite surprised I didn't see lots of players.
That's the right wing back that we've been looking at. Different player. So yeah, it's very interesting. So he knew he was going, did he? How long was So around about, do you know, I can't remember the exact time, but it was throughout the second part of last season. I'm sure he said like, this is my last kind of season with AZ, and that's normal with him and Dutch Eredivisie. You get players say that kind of thing quite a lot. Like I'm going to move for this, that, and the other. They don't always go, but it was like, it's my ambition to go. And the club even said themselves, we're only going to shift a couple of players this time. We don't want to sell that many. I think they've sold, this would be their third one. Ruben van Bommel, son of Mark van Bommel, has gone to PSV. They're a solid young player, and Moller Wolfe. So I can imagine those will be the two players they plan to let go. So it was just expected. And yeah, it's been known for a long time. And they even replaced him. When was it? They announced the signing of his replacement, I think, back in January. Yeah. Again, a young left back, 2021. He's come from Mexico this time, Mateo Chavez. So they had already prepared for this. Their second choice left back isn't good enough, but he's still at the club. And yeah, so this was like the way it was paved. Now, I didn't see any clubs that were actually linked with him. I was like shocked, thinking he's going to go, surely. The one thing I will say, though, is I am surprised that it's a Premier League team now. I wasn't sure whether a Premier League team was going to take the plump on him to be their first choice left back. I did think he might go somewhere in Europe, like Italy or something first, and then maybe in another year or two's time, he might jump to Premier League. But obviously, we all think he's good enough, and I think he can be good enough. But I just know now, the Premier League being so competitive as it is, that clubs take less risks on these players in their starting 11. Like you might see him, like Sunderland, for example, they're signed a Dutch goalkeeper. Will he be their first or second choice? I hope he's their first choice, but I just think maybe he's been brought in as a second and as that kind of safety blanket for them as players, because it's quite hard coming to Premier League. It's just a different beast. But Moller Wolfe was good on the European stage. He did do well
in the Europa League last season. I think he had 10 games in that competition. So he had some, really good games there. He did well. Did he play against Spurs? I mean, Arsenal did win against Spurs at home.
Apparently, that's what I read.
And I watched that game. I should remember. He played that one. He got an assist, I think, against was it Fenerbahce? He was in the win against Galatasaray that they had. Really good performances in the Europa League. So he has been able to raise level for sure this season, despite those doubts I said about his first season, because he's just a young player that's developed, and that's what I mean. Maybe next season he does that step again, and he will be very good indeed.
Absolutely. Well, here he is, taking in the surroundings of Molineux. When he walks through the door on the video, he goes, wow, which is really nice. He seems, what's his personality like? People will be interested as a person in the dressing room. Is he, I mean, I know you probably you wouldn't have been in the dressing room with them and stuff like that, but you'd have got talks and seen interviews and stuff. What type of person is he? How do you think he'll fit into the dressing room? Is he, a quiet person? Is he hardworking? Does he get on with his teammates really well? Don't have any issues off the field or anything like that, throwing tantrums? No,
that's not him at all. I mean, like I said, it was interesting that he wasn't part of their pre-season plans this time around, that he just wasn't. As an example, I'm talking about, there's another Dutch club with a left back who's going to be making a transfer, but he's been part of all their pre-season, all their European qualifiers. He wants to help the team first before he goes. Moller Wolfe wasn't part of that, and I just wondered why. Yeah. But on the flip side of that, he really cares. Like, he's in speaking interviews, he's always very passionate and will speak his mind very openly. Like I said, I think he was trying too hard when he first came and to make it really try and prove himself, but that is because he's driven and wants to get it right. But no, I don't think he's like, when I say like outspoken in interviews when he was talking, he wasn't like one of those really outgoing, like over the top personalities at all. In fact, probably was more inward, if anything, more introverted rather than outgoing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just whilst we mentioned him a little bit about as he was playing over there, Hugo Bueno, obviously back at Wolves. I think he's going to be part of the Wolves team. We sent him out on loan. He's quite a prospect across the ball as well. Got a little bit of an engine on him. What's your take on Hugo Bueno, if you've seen a bit of him?
Yeah, I watched him play for Feyenoord, and whilst I won't give lots of details about him because Wolves fans will know who he is, but when he was playing with Feyenoord, we didn't expect him to be but like a first choice left back, and he ended up becoming that and was really good with his, again, forward runs. I think it's, again, would suit the style that Wolves trying to kind of go for here. Like maybe him and Moller Wolfe are your two left backs this season. We'll see. But his crosses were great, coming from that left side, and he had some good games in the Champions League too. Yeah, again, I think he had a good season last season, and I don't see why he couldn't make another step here. But I think Moller Wolfe was probably the more impressive left back in the Eredivisie last campaign. I liked him. I liked Hugo Bueno, and could easily have stayed at Feyenoord and made a good sort of career for himself there, really.
Yeah, I think Feyenoord wanted to keep him, to be honest. I think they were making moves about keeping him, but obviously he's a Wolves player. He's currently back training with Wolves over there. It'd be interesting to see if he plays in the game against Girona tomorrow night. Just finally on David Moller Wolfe, if you were to describe very briefly your positives and strengths that he's going to bring to Wolves, and any niggling concerns that is where you'd say his weakness is, that he's got to really could get exposed in the Premier League, what would you say there were?
Gosh, okay. Well, positives, like I said, engine on him, stamina, absolute workhorse going up and down the pitch every single game. Gets forward really well. I love the way he links up with the players on the left sides. He's always doing that superbly. AZ Alkmaar, I love playing football. He was a big part of that. On the flip side, my niggling concerns were those times in his first season with AZ, he just looked out of his depth, didn't look good enough, and was actually shocked that he ended up holding his place as long as he did in the team. Yeah. But like I said, this season just gone, very impressive, really upped his game. Yeah, go him, and I'm really pleased he's made the move. I'm pleased he deserves it. It's one of the players that's come from Dutch Eredivisie. He's got a big money move to the Premier League, so he's done well.
Fantastic. And just finally, because we've got 100 watching live and they're on. If any of you guys in the chat have got a question for Michael, we'll just hold on a little bit. Just drop it. If you've got a question for him from the viewers, just drop it in the chat. We'll put it on the screen and we'll ask Michael the question. I'm quite positive from Wolves' point of view that we've brought in this left back, this left wing back, and I'm hoping that the style of play that Wolves play with the added
good fit,
the added comfort blanket of 3 centre backs will give him a little bit more freedom, because I don't know if I mentioned it, has he got a bit of pace about him?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's like the quickest player, but he's got a bit of pace about him, and like you said already, with the 3 centre backs behind him, it's that defensive assurance. That's why I've not spoken increasingly about his defensive game. As to be honest, with 3 centre backs there, that is going to help him. But if you think about those one-on-one duels, like if you put him against Mo Salah right now, that makes me think, "Ooh, like is he ready for that just yet?" But with the development he was having, why not? And maybe it's up to Mo Salah to be doing the tracking back and sorting him out, because that's going to be a problem for right wingers up against Moller Wolfe. Like he's going to get forward a lot, and he's going to be pinning back a lot of wingers that are having to defend against him. So it's a 2-pronged attack, isn't it? 2 ways of looking at it. But yeah, those one-on-one duels, but he's got the centre backs behind him. I think that'll be fine and it would work.
Fantastic. We've got a first question here from Andrew Crisp, who's one of our members. He wants to know, in your honest opinion, who do you think is better, Wolfe or Bueno?
Really hard. And I did say just now that I think Moller Wolfe probably has the edge on him last season. But it's like he's got the higher ceiling, whereas Bueno's just more like steady.
Yeah.
And some things that Bueno can do better than Wolfe. Wolfe has got a better edge on him. I mean, he's getting up and down a lot, whereas Bueno is like his left-footed crosses were perfect. But like that's one thing Wolfe isn't like known for, those high balls in. Maybe that's the only part Bueno has got the edge on in his game, really. But I do like both players and think they'd work as a good, like, how do I say it? If they are your 2 left wing backs, they're good ones to have, with one having the edge over the other, but they're going to put pressure on each other to be as good as they can all the time.
So that's good. Patrick wants to know your honest opinion. Do you think he'll work out at Wolves?
I don't want to be an annoying person and sit on the fence of this, but I do feel like I'll go one or the other. I'm leaning more towards positive though than negative, but I don't want to be that person that sits here and goes, he's going to be amazing. Because I do think there is that chance he might not be. And I have had Meg in the face previously in the past with a couple of players I've put my neck on the line for, but I remember being asked about Anthony went to Man United, and I did think it wouldn't work out, so I'm glad I got that one right.
That's brilliant. Neil White's got a question for you. He wants to know, is there any good strikers in the Dutch league?
I've got to say, before this is not really answering the question, but you've got Jurgen Strand Larsen, and I watched him play for FC Groningen when he first was kind of breaking out. He made the move. He must have been for Norway to Groningen, and he didn't score too many goals when he first signed, but then was just getting better and better, and he got his double figures, I think, one season for FC Groningen. And I was thinking, he's getting good now. I wonder if he has got potential. And I can't remember where he went first. Where did you sign him from again?
Do you know what? I can't even remember where we signed.
Someone in the comments are saying it right now, aren't they?
In the chat, I'll be chatting that one. It'll come to me. It's gone out of my head, but he's. We've signed him on loan, didn't we? With a view to a permanent signing. We've made that signing permanent. He was injured quite a bit last year, but still got a lot of goals. I think this could be a real breakout year. Yes, Ellie has just said Celta Vigo. And she beat Carl and Dan. Well, thank you for that. That's right, Celta Vigo. And I think this season, if he's got the right support around him, it could be a real breakout season for him, and he could be a real threat, because we've got to replace the goals of Mateus Cunha. We've 3/4 of our goals came through goals and assists from Ryan Ait-Nouri or Mateus Cunha. That's a big goal loss that we've got.
So when you say about any good striker from the Dutch league, would you be looking for a first or a second choice? What kind of striker would you need?
Well, it'd be interesting to hear what Neil thinks. Neil, you've heard the question from Michael there. What kind of striker do you think Wolves need to support or across the front three? Are you looking for an out-and-out 9, or are you looking for a 10, or are you looking for someone that could play across the front three, which is what we tend to do. Be interesting to see, because we also have Sasha Kalajic that's coming back from a major injury, playing in pre-season, very, very tall, but very good feet. And, I think personally he offers something for Wolves different, because he's very tall. He's like 6'7" or something like that. He's very tall, quite gangly, a bit like a Peter Crouch, but he's very good with his feet. Neil's saying a backup to Larson.
So that kind of mould again of a bit of a hold striker, but is good on the the shoulder of the last man. He could do a bit of everything, like Jürgen Strand Larsen, I guess. Well, Brian Brobby's there with Ajax, and they're trying to shift him this summer. He's a very similar type of striker, but he's had a funny couple of years, Brobby. So he came as like a big breakthrough striker, and it's like next Dutch Netherlands striker, here we go. But then he had a season scoring like over 20 goals with Ajax, and then last season couldn't hit the back of a barn door. So he's someone that they're trying to shift, and they'll be looking at that kind of market, like maybe a Wolves come in and go, cool, we should take a chance on him. Maybe he's like Larson, a similar kind of striker. So you could look at someone like him and take a risk, but I would stay away probably.
Wolves took a risk on Raul Jimenez because he wasn't prolific when he was at Benfica. There
you are.
And he came, and sometimes the timing in a club, if you look at Vitina, who's from PSG, he played for Wolves against Chorley, If you look at it, he's like running things for PSG. Sometimes the timing for a player and a club can be just, and the fit and the way the manager and the way they play can just be a good fit. So
absolutely
interesting. I know I do believe they're looking at getting another midfielder, Wolves, and another attacking forward. Is there any good midfielders in the Dutch league that you think would be a good shout for Wolves?
That's probably the most talented part of that league at the moment, the midfielders. I mean, I was just going to touch again on another striker that could potentially be an option. I don't know. Luke de Jong is another big, tall striker. He's just left PSV. He's a little older, 32, 33, but was captain there, was scoring goals with his head, and he's a free agent. Yeah, so, there's an option. Added to that then, midfielders. Joey Veerman, PSV midfielder, wanted a big move for the past couple of years, hasn't come about. As for why, I think he does well where he has a bit more space in midfield, a bit more room, but when he hasn't had much room, he struggled. So PSV in the home matches where they need to win 3 or 4-0, he's such a good midfielder, gets loads of assists, creates goals, score goals, really silky midfielder. He's got potential in him still, even though he's 26. Yeah. So he could be an option, creative midfielder. If you're looking down like a Mateus Cunha kind of mould, it's a shame he's just gone, but Igor Paixão has just left Feyenoord, left winger. I really, really liked him. Gosh, I could keep going, but I don't want to bore people too much with Dutch football unless you want to check out our podcast, and you can hear all sorts about Dutch football. But there's lots of great players again still in that league. Some might leave this summer, some probably will stay a bit longer, and it's a market Wolves could tap into some more. It's their first signing for the Netherlands in, well, I don't know, maybe people could let us know how long it's been.
Well, guy, all I'm going to say is, do you remember this guy?
Oh my God, who's that? Sorry.
John de Wolf.
Oh, okay, right.
John de Wolf. He hasn't got as much hair. You know who John de Wolf is, didn't you?
I do, yeah. I recognise him now. He's facing the Dutch TV, yeah.
Well, he played for Wolves at the back, and his surname was de Wolf. And he had a mane like a wolf. He became a bit of a Wolves legend, to be honest. Very, very popular player that played for Wolves. And so if this David Moller Wolfe turns out to be half of good or as a legend as John de Wolf, he will be a great player. So like he was like, John de Wolf was a no messing defender. The Wolves fans loved him for it. So if he ends up being half as good as him or loved as much as him, then he'll become a bit of thing. Wolves have obviously gone for a 5-year contract with David. From Feyenoord. I think they're saying we got John de Wolf from.
That's right. Yeah. No, you reminded me now. Yeah. Like I said, I remember seeing him on TV. He's a pundit in the Netherlands.
No, exactly. He's a legend for them, and he hasn't got that mane anymore. But he's never forgotten by Wolves fans. So, like, if you follow, it's obviously a different generation. But to be fair, the young man has got a very good head of hair. To be fair, he has got good hair. To be fair,
how much do you think stands to his name? By the way, come on, playing for Wolves. That's got to have played a little part, hasn't it?
You know what? In his actual interview, he says, "Hold on, where's this? I just got myself." He did say in his interview that that a couple of years ago, him and his brothers were joking about with him. Imagine if you ended up playing for Wolves, and here we go. He says personally. He says, on a Wolf playing for Wolves. Personally, he says, I think it's pretty cool to have a surname and then play for Wolverhampton. Me and my brothers have actually joked a bit about it a couple of years ago, and now it's turned into reality. I think it was meant to be. And he's actually got a wolf tattoo as well. So, listen, it almost seems written in the stars for him. So I'm hoping he does turn out to be a big success. And if we sign any more Dutch players, obviously we'd love to get you back on. But before we finish, I'd really love to let people know a bit more about where they can find you. If they want to find more about the content or a bit more about the Dutch League, how can they find you on podcast, YouTube? If you just let everyone know the information, and then they can go. If you can go and check out, if you've got a YouTube channel, go and give them a follow.
Yeah, cheers, mate. So you can see my handle there. That's on Twitter and Blue Sky at Eredivisie Mike. I'll probably post most on X, to be honest, more than anything. Yeah. But then after that, that's where you can find me, and then from there you'll find the handle of the Twitter account there, Football Adanya anyway. So football, English, same. Adanya is orange in Dutch, so it's spelled orange, but you replace the G with a J, Football Adanya. Yeah. So we are, the biggest English language sort of outlet of Dutch football. We meet players. We do podcasts on the league and the Dutch national team. That's on our website. It's on our YouTube channel. Bits stuff like that, really. We do like match reports on the league. We do podcasts on these. So we're doing a big season preview podcast on Monday, which we're really looking forward to. So if you want to get into the league, if you aren't really into it already, a bit interested, that might be a good place to start. And you'll hear about us talk about every single team in the league. So we do that, but as I say, also we follow the national team quite closely. We do a lot of live streams after that. So kind of similar to you guys, really, with what you do, your podcasts and just more of that.
Interesting. Slightly off tangent, but we always Wolves. We run a Content Creators Cup 7-a-side tournament at Wolves Training Ground Indoor Dome every year in aid of the Wolves Foundation. It's our third year this year, and because we have a lot of Wolves podcasts, and we've got a couple of invitationals as well this year. Everyone wants to sort of play in the Wolves strip. So this year we just did various colours. We ended up having green last year. We've actually drawn orange this year.
Ooh.
Our team, our channel, and what we're going to be doing. This is kind of crazy, really. We've decided that we're going to play it like in the Dutch 70s kit type.
Love it.
Orange shirt, white shorts, and the orange, and because the Dutch tend to play in all orange now, don't they? But they used to play in the orange top with the white shorts. So we're going for that look. So
well, yeah, you could turn the right person here, because I love that.
It's absolute classic, with the Johan Cruyff and all that sort of team. They had such a great. How that team never won the World Cup, I just do not know.
Yeah,
and I bet it still knocks the Dutch that they still haven't won the World Cup.
It's coming at some point. Us three on the Football Day podcast keep saying it will come at some point. Best generation we've ever had at the moment. Next World Cup's coming up.
You've got some good ones there. And you know,
not ever had, but in a quite a while, let's just say.
Yeah, you've got you coming good. And of course the Dutch girls won the Euros. Is that followed much, the women's Euros over in
when they won the Euros under Serena Wiegmann the first time, it was fantastic. Like, the country really got into it. There were loads of boys with, you know, Miedema on their back. Yeah. Really positive women's football, because it didn't matter that if it was men or women to those guys. I think it's just gone downhill the past 4 or 5 years because the team hasn't been anywhere near as good. But it certainly went through an absolute peak there, and more so. I mean, I'm in the UK as well, more so than England here. After the 2 wins that the ladies have had, like over there, it was different. It was very positive. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And are you expecting the Netherlands to be strong at the World Cup next year?
I'm expecting to be strong, but I don't want to say like, we'll win the World Cup. I'm not ridiculous here, but I think we'll have a good shot, a good chance at doing something. It's the manager we're a bit worried about, Ronald Koeman. I'm not really sure he's like a World Cup winning manager. When you say him, you don't really think of a World Cup winning manager.
I don't think the England fans are too sure about Tuchel at the moment either, to be honest. But there you go. The long way to go. Listen, mate, Michael, thanks ever so much for coming on tonight. Hopefully, guys, you've really, really enjoyed Michael's input on David Moller Wolfe, and of course Hugo Bueno as well. Giving some real insight from someone that watches that league and that club a lot. And I'm guessing, Michael, you'll be watching with great interest to see how he does do at Wolves. And then hopefully, if we do sign any more Dutch players, I'd love to get you back on again to talk about them, if that would be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you probably see the scarf there, AZ Alkmaar. Got another one somewhere, AZ, a couple of shirts there. Like, they're my favourite Dutch club, so watch him play a lot for them, as well as the other teams in the league as well. Oh, thanks, guys. That's really kind. You know, to find me on Twitter if you want to kind of follow me. So, I'll come back on anything like that. And I do love watching the players that come from the Dutch league into the Premier League. I do keep an eye on them. I really hope this works out, this one.
Yeah, there's loads of people there that have really found this of value, mate. And you know, as Wolves fans, it's really good. Matthew here as well saying enjoyed every minute of it. So thank you very much. There'll be loads more that will watch it back on catch up. As I say, we'll also put it out on audio on our podcast tomorrow. That gets a couple of thousand downloads as well. So go and check out Michael on Twitter, or X as it's now called. And the final word from Andrew Chris. Thank you for coming on, Michael.
Sounds.
Cheers. All the best, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.